Cullen goes live in 4 minutes. Lynn Cullen goes live in 3 minutes. Lynn Cullen goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hi there, ho there, and good morning. It's a Thursday. I can tell because Sokolowski's to my left, and it's January 15th. And we're going to start off a little easy today because the Academy Award nominations have just
the minute
released.
you said that, I thought of, what was that singer's name who sang Rolling on the River? And she would always
Tina
say,
Turner.
Yeah, and she would always say, first we're going to do it easy, and then we're going to do it rough. That's when you said it was the first thing I thought of.
Well, I think there are some prizes here, huh? Okay. Selma got stiffed.
Well, I wonder how often, that'd be interesting to think how many sort of docudramas over time have been, like the Kennedy film, wasn't there a Nixon film? I wonder how many of those over time have gotten picked for, or nominated at least.
I think the one called Frost Nixon
was nominated for Best Picture?
I don't know if it was nominated for Best Picture, but I have a feeling that both the guys who played Frost and Nixon might have been. I mean, might have been. That was a pretty powerfully and well done movie.
I'd also like to know, I wonder, I bet there have been percentage-wise, like maybe a fifth that have been humorous, that have won over
comedies
dramas.
almost never win. It's true. So ain't no comedies here. Well, you could say, Grand Budapest Hotel is closest to, right?
Yeah.
So Best Picture nominees in alphabetical order are American Sniper, which I don't want to see.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a true story, and it's about this guy whose job is
to kill people.
And how he killed, the trailer shows him killing a mother and child. I think.
But isn't the child is given this huge bomb?
Yeah, I don't know.
And he has to figure out, is it a bomb
Is it a bomb or
sausage?
I don't know. But then
that's
shows
the kind
what
of
it did
decision.
to him.
Well,
it shows what that does.
Yeah.
It's like I've often heard that people who are the executioners who perform the final
in prison, you mean?
In prisons in this country often end up just shattered human beings.
Well, it's just like I remember during the AIDS crisis, after a while, you'd sit with patients or whatever, friends and lovers and what have you. But after like 5 and 10...
You didn't have it anymore.
People would just say, I'm sorry, I love you, but I can't be your caregiver. I just don't have any more. And people would sometimes for 2 years, and then maybe they would go back. But, it's hard because you give everything and you put yourself on hold. Mm-hmm. And, I suppose it's slightly different if you're an executioner because you don't have that human... But even nurses and that who do, ER or... Except it's very funny. The only group I've never, and I heard someone speak very articulately about this not long ago, who don't seem to get that burnout are people in hospice. Because the whole notion is, yes, they're dealing with the
Because there's
dying,
something, they feel they're doing something wonderful.
Because you know they're going to die.
Right.
99.9% of the time. And it's like, let's make them feel better.
Although I know somebody who does... pediatric.
Oh, that must be. Ooh.
Now, how do you do that? Yeah. It's a guy, and he's a wonderful human being. He really is. And he doesn't seem. He seems capable of joy and.
Sure. Oh yeah. It's just,
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Oncologists.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Sure.
I don't know. Okay. Sure. Best Picture. Nominees: American Sniper, Birdman, Boyhood, which is gonna win. It's Boyhood's year. Did you see it?
I did. Oh, I liked it. But
that was wonderful.
Maybe, yeah.
It's gonna win simply for the novelty of what he did.
And the craft, yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
A film. No one had ever done anything like this before.
No, exactly.
Okay, and it turned into a pretty remarkable...
Very fine film, yes, I agree.
Okay, it's going to win. American Sniper, Birdman, Boyhood, The Grand Budapest Hotel, which Tom and I were just saying, we don't quite get all the faldy-roll here. It's a cute, nice movie, well done.
I found it twee. I
don't even know what
that the jokes weren't like, but sort of, sort of British. Oh, yes.
Did you say twee?
Twee. I'm not sure how you define. I could think of twee, but I'm not sure how you.
So cute.
Too cute?
Or what's that British expression I love?
Twee?
Too clever by half.
Okay, well that I know. Okay, too clever
because
by
sort
half.
Of stagey.
But what
is
twee? Twee comes from is an American?
I'm not sure. No. It's a 19th century term. In fact, almost nobody uses it but me.
Never heard it. No, but Celine knew it. Twee. Twee.
T-W-E-E.
I never heard of it. Yes, Celine.
Excessively or affectedly quaint. Pretty or
Yeah.
sentimental.
Excessively quaint. Well, I would call that kitsch.
No,
No.
kitsch isn't quaint. Kitsch is like
Bad taste?
nostalgic. No. Kitsch is really the love for something that has passed. And usually it was something that was not like love of country, but like the love of...
Paintings of big-eyed people.
No, well, that is kitsch.
That is kitsch.
Now, I'm trying to think of a good example.
That get it?
Susan
No.
Sontag gives a really good definition. This, I highly, any of my listeners, our listeners, it's called Notes on Camp. She wrote it in the early 60s. It's fascinating. There's this notion of camp, and it starts out with because gay people were thought to be the first ones. And camp would be to take something that was fairly mundane,
And make
like,
it-
yeah,
yes.
like saying the early motel culture, and you'd say, "Oh, the greatest place I've ever stayed was in a Route 66 Clearview Motel."
I totally
And to
miss
build
the
that.
motel culture. What are you talking
Well,
about?
like something that was really like low class and whatever,
And then you
to
make
make
it-
it high.
John Waters is the king of camp.
John Waters is...
Yeah, in a sense. Well, no, but he's also bad taste too.
That's
he's not
kitsch.
just camp.
I think of
No,
kitsch
and it's
as-
not that. It's like,
Oh, God.
these works are very subtle in their difference. Kitsch would be sort of like having your house filled with your grandma's tea cozies or antimacassars.
No, kitsch is... All right, whatever. But I mean, I know it when I see it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, right. But twee would be like, oh, how delightful. Oh.
Okay, I think I get it. There's something sticky about tweet.
Yes, right, exactly. Like having too many Harry Potter books and novels around, and dolls and teacups and Gumbledorfs and Blibbly-Blorps dolls around your house.
Okay.
That would be twee. Twee. Yes.
I think that'd be indication of a mental
Moron.
problem.
Yeah, right.
You know, one of the most terrifying things in my career as a reporter that I ever encountered was on a feature story. This was supposed to be a story that was just interesting of a woman who collected teddy bears.
Uh-huh.
And I forgot where she lived, like in Mount Oliver or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the photographer and I went to the house to do our job. Knocked on when we got to the front door, it said the Bear House.
Oh,
and
sure.
when we knocked on the door, and the woman who opened it,
Was she a Furby or whatever they're called?
no, she was this. Hi,
Oh,
welcome,
yeah.
and she's holding a big bear.
Okay.
And literally, I cannot tell you, it was like walking in to a crazy person's. Every square inch. When then she had children, and she
Her
had
own children, you mean?
she had children,
Oh,
little children,
oh.
and there was a girl, and they ate at the kitchen table, and there was a bear that was considered part
Yeah, one of the
that was
tables.
being fed at the table with the daughters. And you cannot imagine. I was
Was
so...
there a husband, you think?
I didn't see any husband.
Okay.
I was so
Right.
freaked, creeped,
Yeah,
didn't know
right.
what to do. And I actually thought, this is something I'd like to call Child Protective Services or something. There is no way that this
You
poor
should have
child
said,
should be in
oh,
here.
your little called reporters. Have you ever had sex with a bear, madam?
God. Oh, her bed. Oh, you can't imagine entering. Oh, my God. You can't. Yes, I bet she did have sex with a bear. And, you know, when I finished the piece, I did the piece, I thought,
Oh, really?
you know, you just have to let it speak for itself.
Oh, sure,
Right,
sure,
right.
sure,
So
sure.
I just did it. I showed.
Yeah.
And then when the piece ended, they came back to me on the set next to Don Cannon and the others. And normally at the end, we sort of banter a bit.
Yeah.
And I said something like, rolled my eyes and looked at Don, and he was like, what? He was just speechless. Everybody was just, nobody could say a thing. Oy.
Now,
Okay.
you said it's the bear house on the facade.
I think it did,
Did
yeah.
she give tours, or was this a special thing just for this
don't know.
broadcast?
I can't remember. Oh, okay. We're never even going to get through this. The Grand Budapest Hotel, which, you know, and that ended up with Twee. Then The Imitation Game. The Imitation Game is that Turing?
Oh, yes, this is about Alan Turing, the man
Okay.
who was...
And that's, again, a heavy...
Heavy, yeah.
I was on my way to see that the other day.
And you decided you weren't...
And I
down
thought
there?
the sun was shining, and I thought, no.
When is Annie playing?
No, I
you know?
know.
Tomorrow!
I don't. Can't do it. Here's Selma, and apparently this might be pretty much all it got in terms. Selma did make Best Picture nominee. Then The Theory of Everything, which is that one about
Stephen Hawking.
Hawking. Ugh. And then Whiplash, which again I didn't want to see because it's about the sadistic music teacher.
It's good for you.
Oh my God. Okay, they can nominate up to 10 movies. They stopped at 8 this year.
Yeah, because it wasn't always
So if
6
you're
or 5.
yeah, it used to be,
This is
but
the
then they
first
made
year
it 10. So if you feel something's missing here, well, they could have put it in there. Mm-hmm. And I guess the ones that people think might be missing are A Most Violent Year, Foxcatcher, Unbroken, and Into the Woods. Bah, 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 bah. Okay, actor in a leading role. We have Steve Carell in Foxcatcher. We both saw it and found the movie dull.
Hard going.
Dull.
I mean, and very slow, very
very,
little dialogue.
very slow.
And Steve Carell, I mean, although I think I said to you,
It's pretty
you
remarkable.
would never really know it was him, perhaps, because he wears this prosthetic.
And he's like,
And mumbles.
and he's like this
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
movie, looking down his
Well, as
nose. He's not-
was
and
Channing Tatum, too.
And Channing
He was
Tatum never
mumbled.
said a word. I mean, so it was really odd and quiet and slow
And Vanessa Redgrave has 2
menacing.
lines.
And Vanessa Redgrave has 2 lines. And we were saying, how much did you get paid for
Yeah,
that
right.
one day of filming?
$1 million.
Oh, man. Okay, so Steve Carell gets nominated. Bradley Cooper, American Sniper. Benedict Cumberbatch, The Imitation Game. Michael Keaton, our own Birdman. Eddie Redmayne, who plays Hawking in The Theory of Everything. So,
I just make a parenthesis. I've listened to Eddie Redmayne now 3-4 times on various talk shows, and it's so funny. I mean, he knows he's been clever, but he talks about preparing, and then he did get to me talking a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I think he's the last time I saw him, he still had not heard from Hawking what he thought of the performance. But, you would say, well, Stephen, so-and-so and so-and-so. Oh, he mentioned something about, I forgot what it was. And he says, well, and we're both Capricorns. And Hawking then has to pause because of the translation. And he says, I'm an astronomer, not an astrologer. I mean, he had some great lines. And he's like, here's this genius. But because he's just like almost like a vegetable visually, you
Not
don't
his
think,
brain,
no,
yeah.
not his brain at all.
Oh, okay. So they're saying the people for a leading actor who maybe got shunned, or shouldn't, who should have been there, was David Oyelowo, the guy who plays Dr. King. It's an African name, and I don't know how to pronounce it.
Neither I.
Okay. Actress in a leading role. And here is where I haven't seen a lot of these. Marion Cotillard, 2 Days, One Night, which is a little French film, I believe. Felicity Jones, The Theory of Everything. She plays Hawking's wife. Julianne Moore in Still Alice, which hasn't hit Pittsburgh yet, but is the story of a professor who has just been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl, and Reese Witherspoon in Wild.
But she was the one who finessed that whole scam in Gone Girl. She was the Gone Girl, wasn't she, Rosamund Pike?
I didn't see it.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, there again, there ain't no happy movies there. It's a really.
I really want to see the Julianne Moore because I think she's a wonderful actress, but incipient Alzheimer's is not nice.
Okay, supporting actor roles, the nominees, in case you wanted to know. Robert Duvall, The Judge, which apparently is a horrible movie, so why even bother? He's not going to win, and he's such a great actor. You could nominate him for anything he does. This is the.
Well, he thinks differently.
Okay. Ethan Hawke, Boyhood. Ed Norton, Birdman. He was fantastic
He's a wonderful actor.
in Birdman. I would give it to him in 2 seconds, but I haven't seen Mark Ruffalo in Foxcatcher. No, and J.K. Simmons, this guy's the sadistic guy in Whiplash. I suppose they'll give it to him.
I feel he might, just because I think Hollywood every once in a while loves to pick like one of these
somebody nobody really knows very
and that
well.
who's been in the business for
right,
50
a journeyman
years.
actor.
Journeyman, that was what I was looking for.
Okay, and supporting actress Patricia Arquette, Boyhood. Laura Dern, Wild. I believe she plays the mother of Reese Witherspoon. Emma Stone in Birdman. She plays the daughter of Michael Keaton's character. Keira Knightley in The Imitation Game.
She was good.
Okay. Well, that's tepid praise.
Well, I mean, the woman, although interesting in terms of the historical thing, her role is really
Very small
compared to the men.
Yeah, it was a male movie. And Meryl Streep, oh, please, Into the Woods.
Yeah, I mean, she was fine. But
Yeah, but come on.
Stunning, but I guess
Come on.
you cannot not nominate her, you know. But it's all these, like Emma Stone. I never know who these young women are. They all look the same. They all sound the same, and I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, this is true. All right, so
The ingenue, someone that I never knew. Poop, poop, pee-doo.
Okay, that's it. I'm just looking at and seeing if any. No, wow.
Did you see the people who won for something behind the screens? This film, Ida, did you ever see that?
I saw Ida.
That was
I thought that was
slow,
a
but very
wonderful,
thoughtful
unbelievably good movie. And isn't that up for Best Foreign Film? Yeah, it is. Foreign language film, Ida. Or Ida, I think as it's pronounced.
I don't know.
It's a wonderful movie. It's on demand.
Is it?
If you have it. Yeah.
And it was one of the first
that's
ones
where I
I've seen
saw it.
in a long time in black and white.
Yeah, wonderful movie. Ida, and then Leviathan, which I think everybody is talking about mostly, and this is a Russian. It's about a Russian. Well, whatever. Tangerines, which I don't know. Wild Tales and Timbuktu. All right, enough. Richard Linklater is got a nomination for original screenplay, and he's the Boyhood, and he definitely should win that.
The way he did.
Although the guys who wrote Birdman, I don't know, and then Wes Anderson's up for it too.
Well, actually, when you think about it, the plot of Boyhood was not so unique. But the directing was what was brilliant, because they make the point that the film, for those who haven't seen it, is basically about the boyhood of this main character from maybe 5 to 22.
6 to 18.
Okay. And they filmed it every year for like 2 months, and then they wouldn't film at all. They'd all go off to their own jobs. And the kid in particular, it's all of a sudden you go, and then there's the next scene, and you can tell it's been a year. But in most instances, it was just seamless.
I know.
That was what was brilliant, the director, and he was able to just, they're closing the door,
and then
the door
it opens
and the kid is 3 inches taller.
Yeah.
That
pretty
was
amazing, because you haven't seen it. The only other one I see for Selma, and I might be wrong here, is Best Original Song. And that's John Legend and Common, who wrote Glory, and that won the Golden Globe as well. So, I don't know, big deal, blah, blah, blah. Why do we get into this? Oh, documentary, Citizen 4, that's the one about, God, why am I blanking on everybody's name?
Good.
The NSA leaker.
Ethan.
Not Ethan.
What's his name?
Oh, I love it when someone in their 20s can't remember.
Right.
Yeah, then I don't get so scared.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Edward Snowden.
Edward Snowden.
Oh, Snowden. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. And I never heard of the others.
Lost in Vietnam you would love it, because it's basically, what's interesting is you think you know everything about that, and some of the scenes, when they're up on the roof of the embassy.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that, and the footage is great. And one of the things they do is they follow these people now who today are some of them in their 80s, and their thoughts.
Were the last ones out.
And what was very interesting was the fact that who was president then? Was it Bush when the last Vietnam was? No, who was?
No,
president?
it was Nixon. It was Nixon.
I guess. Well, no. Well, wasn't it just Ford because Nixon had?
No, it was Nixon.
Okay, yeah, I guess maybe you're right. Anyway, but they make the point where the people, the military on the ground knew what was happening like a year before, and certainly 6-9 months before. The ambassador, even Nixon had a more, what would you say, realistic view. The ambassador kept saying like, well, it's going to be fine. It's going to be just fine. So finally the military, and this one man talks very, very openly. He said, we just decided we're not going to tell the ambassador anything. We prepared the ways to pick people up. And until the last minute, even on the final day, I won't go yet. I won't go yet. And they came out, get in the fucking plane.
I can't remember who the hell the ambassador
Some
was.
man. You hear the name, you'll remember it. But
yeah,
it's
I can't remember.
And then there's two guys who were in the compound to be picked up.
And who didn't get it.
So they ran out and they immediately stripped down so that they wouldn't look like they had Western clothing, even their underpants, because they said the worst thing was to have Fruit of the Loom underpants. And they pick up clothing along the sideway and dress up like street punks. And these two guys were in jail for 3 years.
All right, stop already. We're not even following you.
Oh,
I looked over at it,
sorry.
Again, the young one was like...
Yeah. It's fascinating, though.
All right, okay,
really
all right.
interesting.
Okay, and by the way, the Last Days in Vietnam was done by
Yes, that's right.
Rory Kennedy, one of
Bobby Kennedy's
million children.
At least the ones we know about.
All right. And they're saying if there's a snub, it's for Life Itself, the much-praised documentary about Roger Ebert.
Oh, I never saw that one.
Okay. Well, that's it. I'm done. I think it's generally a dull year. Don't you think?
Well, I think when you go on about it, the reason it's pushed so much is probably the movie. Well, not probably. Movies are our biggest form of entertainment, so that's why people get all excited about it. But secondly, even in the age of Angelina Jolie and people of that ilk, stars aren't what they used to be. Just like what was the line in Sunset Boulevard? We had faces back then.
Or I was just watching that again.
Oh, she's amazing.
God.
I once saw her and talked to her.
Oh, did you really?
In
Gloria
1971, she used to walk. She must have lived in Central Park near, because I told you my graduate school is right on Fifth Avenue. And I'd see her. At one point, she was sitting there, and I couldn't resist. So I said, Miss Swanson, I'm sorry, I hope I'm not, And she was eating her lunch out of a Tupperware, because I'd read she was vegetarian and all those things, vegans and whatever. And she was very nice, but she was about a foot tall.
Oh, yeah.
And but that face was indistinguishable. And she was very, thank you. I would think someone your age wouldn't know my movies. I said, Madam, you are a classic. And as the French say, non pareil. And she said, oh my. And that was the end of our. That was only matched by Garbo, who I also once saw on.
I saw her too. But
she never talked to anyone.
But she lived right near my my acting school.
Oh, okay.
She lived, which was on 54th and like First.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she lived in a high rise just around the corner and up, and so it was well known. People in the school were constantly maybe seeing her walking. She wanted to be alone, and I did catch her once. I mean, I hardly saw her. She had on a hat. She had on this hat that sort of obscured, and she had the sunglasses. But by virtue of always being so wrapped up in disguise, you know it's Garbo.
Especially when it was hot. But you could still see. I remember, because I saw a few times. One time, though, really close up. You could still see the sort of beautiful bones of her face.
Oh, God, was she beautiful. Melanie writes about Grand Budapest Hotel. The whole time I was watching the movie, I kept saying to myself, I know I'm supposed to laugh here. But I never got there. I appreciated the visuals of the movie, but just didn't find it funny. Well, I think Wes Anderson is a very specific kind of...
weird.
Yeah, and his movies are they would be considered weird by most
Wasn't the one
people,
with
and a
the
lot
dog
of people.
show, wasn't that his?
No,
Oh.
no.
That was hilarious.
But that too was weird.
Best in show?
Best in
Yeah,
show.
it was a little twee too.
That's Christopher Guest.
Oh, Christopher Guest, that's right.
and
But you had to sort of be in
no,
that
that
world
is
to really
so
get it, I thought.
funny.
Hilarious.
Oh,
well.
anything Christopher Guest does is brilliant. Brilliant.
What has he done recently?
I don't know. I'm not aware of anything he's
Okay.
done recently. Give the guy a break, huh? Let him take a rest.
Yeah,
He's
that
done a
movie
lot.
was made 25
He's
years
made some,
ago.
I mean, like really done some. I mean, but they last. They work.
Oh, okay.
If you ever need a laugh, they're
Okay.
wonderful. Waiting for Guffman.
I didn't see that.
It's wonderful.
Very funny.
They're
I'll
wonderful.
look
I mean, and obviously Spinal Tap. Hello.
Oh, I hated that.
Oh my God.
Hated that. Well, I think in all of those, you had to have some respect for the worlds which he was spoofing, like stoner rock music for
Yeah,
Spinal
yeah.
Tap, or the silliness and the preciousness of the dog show culture.
The Princess Bride?
The Princess Bride
Oh, I hated
might
that,
be
too.
one of the most brilliant movies
Oh,
ever made.
please.
But The Princess Bride?
Move over.
Whoa, oh.
Strangers on a Train, Vertigo, for the Princess Bride.
Oh no, The Princess Bride, brilliant.
All right.
Can't believe it.
Everyone to his own taste, said the man who kissed the cow.
That's true. Yeah. And we wouldn't want a world where everybody liked
Yes, because the world would be, isn't that
It would be very
the
dull.
world would be upside down.
Oh my Lord. Okay, let me see what I brought in here. You know, I did go through the
Her
papers.
bird cage filler. Oh God, you have a lot today.
All right.
No, I mean it's good, but I mean
I know, and we've wasted so much time. But,
on the movies.
well, there were some local stories that I just have to sound off
okay.
about immediately.
All right.
That's the NRA suing
yes,
Pittsburgh. Front page story, Post Gazette, written by. Do you notice who wrote the
No, I
story?
didn't. Oh, Chris Potter?
Chris Potter. Woo!
Because mostly he's been getting to write sort of little itsy bitsy pieces.
Oh, he's got the lead
This
today.
is good, yeah.
Yeah. So, this is what happens when you elect Republicans. I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys this. So, we have a totally Republican-dominated state legislature. So, one of the wonderful things they spent time doing, they didn't do much, but one of the things they did do was pass something called Act 192. And that gave folks like the NRA or anybody, even a single person, who feels there should be unfettered access to all things gun-like, and any law attempting to in any way regulate this would be unconstitutional. So the law went into effect January 5th, and the NRA immediately, because the NRA is the one behind the law, so they have the lawsuits ready to go.
Yeah.
And they immediately sue Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Pittsburgh. Now, here's the thing. The NRA has bottomless funds,
Right.
right? Guess who doesn't?
ACLU.
No, taxpayers of the city of
sure.
Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, where they can't even fund their own schools.
Right.
So, listen to how despicable this law is. The law not only gives standing to anybody who's offended by a gun control provision, and listen to what they're offended by. They're suing us for a provision which prohibits carrying firearms in a vehicle or in person without a state permit.
Why would you be against
Well,
that?
exactly right. Excuse me.
I mean, I don't want my grandmother having a gun.
Why
in her
would you
car.
Why would you even need to have a local law like that if there's already obviously a state law that
Sure,
says you can't
sure.
that you need a permit? Okay, and the other ones like that too. Another law that I guess Pittsburgh passed prohibits firing a gun except at target ranges or in cases permitted by state law.
Which would be things like defending yourself against the,
I guess so the NRA is suing us for that. And a third requires gun owners to report the loss or theft of any of their guns.
So that, of course, when they get into the hands of criminals, etc.
Yeah, so whatever. So this is what, and so here's the thing.
Stupid.
The deep-pocketed NRA is now suing us. Us. And here's the thing. If you lose the lawsuit, here's the other thing, the law that the Republican legislature passed on behalf of the National Rifle Association. If Pittsburgh loses in court, which it very well might.
They have to give everyone a gun? Or something stupid like that?
They have to pay.
Oh, the court costs?
All the court costs and the legal fees for the NRFNA.
So it's like
and you can bet. And so we end up enriching the mayor says we're going.
We probably send some new wet behind the ears ADA up against one of their real highly paid, Jim Cracker lawyers. So of course they win.
Keep it up. Keep sending those Republicans to the legislature.
Well, yes, but the only thing is, how many Americans, even in a place like Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, I'm not saying the center of Pennsylvania where everyone's a moron. They are. They're either Mennonite, Quaker.
Painting with a little bit of a broad
or
brush.
they don't want to pay taxes, or they're militiamen. But I'm saying even this business of are we so...
You can go as far as Cranberry. You
Well,
don't
that's
have to
true.
go...
All right, fine.
You can stay
You're
right
being
here
worse
in
than I
Western
am
PA,
then.
okay?
But the point being, though, are we
Those are-
so frightened and paranoid, because I have a feeling that is it, over and above the real nutcases, that everyone is about to get. Like when I walk out of here and go on the street to get my car, someone's going to shoot me and kill me. So of course I have to have a gun. Are we that as bad as race relations and some corrupt cops? Are we so paranoid that we have to have a gun, or even if we don't have the balls to go and buy one, feel that you should have the right to go and buy a gun for same said reason? Because it's not about hunting, fishing, and boating. It's about this paranoia. And then we'll probably, if we have that gun, when we hear a knock on the door in the night, we take it out and then we shoot our grandmother as she's coming down the stairs with her glass of water. Brainless.
You
brainless.
might as well, save your breath.
Yeah, I know, it's just...
Save your breath. We've all surrendered to the meatheads long ago.
In a funny way, did the story right underneath it about the kid who gets killed?
Oh,
that's another awful story. It's not guns, but it's something sort of comparable.
It's just horrible. Okay, so here's another, elect Republicans and here's what you get. There's another story about the fact that if you have a problem with your doing your tax returns this year and you call the IRS, don't expect anyone to answer. That's what it says. Do not expect anyone to answer. There is no help for you. There is nothing. If you file an ordinary old tax return and you don't electronically file and you think you're getting a big hunk of money soon, don't hold your breath. All of this because of the sequestration caused by the Republicans and their constant cutting of the budgets. The IRS has had to lay off tens of thousands of employees. They literally do not have enough people to do the job. This is exactly what Republicans love to do.
But you know what I thought?
I just want to say this.
Finish.
People already don't like the IRS. It's one of those things you don't like.
To pay taxes.
Okay, and now the rage against the IRS because of their inability to do their job will only be worse.
Yeah.
And this is then what Republicans do. They point to the IRS and say, total dysfunction, total inability, corrupted, God knows what. You cannot trust government. This is an outrage. These are government jobs. These people aren't doing a damn thing. They're sitting on their... They starve the government and then get on them for not being able to do the job.
But then I saw something more nefarious, which is... let's say most Republicans tend to be supported by people who are the upper, if not the very
that's true.
top. Well, those are the people who usually have the cleverest tax preparers.
They don't go after them.
They're not going to go after them.
No,
So
they
it's
never
very
did.
Clever.
They rarely
way
go
of,
after them.
Having what do you call it? Cuts.
They also have deep pockets like the
Yeah,
NRA.
yeah,
So if someone's going to get audited, it's Joe Schmo.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's poor little Joe Schmo. He's going to get audited. But the
But someone
big guys
who's taking
with
off their boats and their vacations in Las Vegas.
because the government
Yeah.
doesn't have the big guns or the
Yeah.
money to go up against their lawyers.
Right.
Let's keep it up. We got an oligarchy here.
That's for sure.
Okay, and then you see what the Republicans that have taken over the Congress are up to.
Yeah.
So the House of Representatives has now, first of all, everybody's freaking out about terrorism. And so we want to fund our Department of Homeland Security, right? So the Republicans in the House take the bill that provides $40 billion to the Department of Homeland Security and put a little amendment on it. And that amendment would essentially undo everything the president just did for immigrants.
Immigrations.
And even what he did for the kids
right.
last year.
Right.
It would totally wipe out everything he did by executive order. In order for this not to make it what the House is doing here is just grandstanding.
Right.
Because it ain't going to get through the Senate.
Right.
Even though the Senate's Republican, they're a little less insane.
Right.
Okay? And so the president is going to end up vetoing, in all likelihood, if this amendment is still tacked on, he will end up vetoing funding for the Department of Homeland Security, which I
is their
suppose
bailiwick,
Fox News will then say,
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Terrorists will be coming through the doorway. Well, now, I can remember
What?
from my civics class, if he vetoes, they can override his veto.
Yeah, but
what is the deal then? Is it both houses have to... No, they can respond. If they really feel his veto is... They can do something.
I think both houses
But it
override.
has to be like 80%
It's
of both
three-quarters,
houses.
I think.
Or something, yeah.
My civics is not fresh in my mind, but I think the
55
override.
years ago.
No, so this is nothing more than grandstanding at a time when this is game playing.
We don't
when
need
we got
grandstanding.
serious issues afoot here, and this will only mean that things that need to be attended to will
Right.
not be attended to.
Exactly.
Because-
Because this is only about, well, whatever
It's
moral
not-
rectitude they may want to suggest. It's about insulting him. That's the only reason. Well, all of them at the same level, all those people have their little Guatemalan maids who they're not paying taxes or Social Security for in their houses.
It's I don't know.
It's demoralizing.
Hard not to, yeah.
Demoralizing.
It's all those words that begin with DE. Okay, I take your demoralizing, I give you depressing. And come on back with another one. Come
Disgust.
on.
Oh, that's
okay,
DI.
okay, any D word.
Any D word.
Any D word. Okay, disgusting. You give me disgusting, I give you disillusioning.
Deplorable. Dégoûtant.
No, you can't do French. You can't do French. That's not true. I mean, that's not. Can you think of
Deutsch?
one?
Auf
Wait,
Deutsch.
It's dispiriting.
Discombobulating.
Did we say dispiriting?
No, we didn't.
Okay, dispiriting.
Discombobulating.
Yeah, okay, no, it's disingenuous.
Oh, very good.
Because it has to fit.
Yeah, no, that's fit. Yes,
That was a good
exactly.
one. This is getting old.
This is getting pretty terrible.
Yeah,
we'll end on that.
Yeah. Are you aware that I think it's one of the largest states in India? India is divided into
Yeah, states, right?
states.
Yes.
Goa, Goa.
Goa's not is Goa a state? It's a city.
Yeah, India's western. The government of Goa on India's western.
Yeah, they know.
No, it's a state in India. It's
No.
a state. It's a state.
No, I don't think so.
It might be. Look at. Think of all the states
No,
we have
no. But I thought
that also
Goa
are
was
cities.
in Tamil Nadu. I thought.
I don't know.
Whatever. It's
All I know Goa from is doing
Southwest
crossword
coast.
puzzles. Okay, good.
The southwest coast of India, and biggest Catholic population in India, because it was founded by Portuguese ministers.
The government of Goa has set up a program that will be administered by the state's Minister for Sports and Youth Affairs. And it is geared at Goa's gay youth. They will be essentially rounded up,
Oh God.
put in little camps,
Oh God.
where, this is the head of it, says, we will tell them what to do and how to get over same-sex feelings. He called homosexuality a big problem, and
In India.
homosexuality is illegal in India. So he intends to set up camps to treat gay, bisexual, and transgender young people.
And they're bringing in Seventh-day Evangelists and Mormons to run those camps.
Listen to who else? A prominent yoga guru,
Oh, perfect, yes.
Baba Ramdev, will be involved. And he has supported the Supreme Court there, which ruled just last year that homosexuality was illegal. And the yogi says it's a bad habit. And he said gay people should come to his yoga institute where they will be freed from this habit.
By doing, what's that, deep dog or whatever that, what's that position? Downward dog. These people, really.
But it's everywhere.
Yeah.
What do we
Just
do?
that they're rounding them up and putting them in
Well,
camps.
no, I didn't say rounding. I did say that was going too far. They haven't set up the camps
But I'm
yet.
sure they're being
But it
beaten.
says here they intend to set up camps to treat these gay and bisexual and transgender young people. He gave few specifics, but said that the program would include counseling. He went on to say...
And watching a lot of Westerns.
They went on to
Not
say,
to make light
Celine's
of it,
not
but-
laughing over that. No, okay. So he went on to say they, meaning
Yeah,
gay people,
yeah.
are that part of our society who have not yet experienced the true pleasures and bliss of life. They do not know what a normal life feels like.
Jeez.
That level. You see how, the world is like smaller and smaller. It's one world. But yet there are such unbelievably
But what's more?
disparate-
Wait, one of the more horrible things we're not thinking about, most people may are thinking. I mean, in these places, you were talking yesterday about Saudi Arabia.
fundamentalism. Yeah.
But India is a democracy, thank you very much. One of the biggest democracies in the world. But yet
And
it is
that
probably
repressive.
more riven, well, over and above the gay thing, which of course is horrendous. But just, I mean, like the man who's now
It's
the
sexual
new...
stuff that goes
well,
on
the
there.
new...
What about all the rapes?
Well, yeah. Like they
mean-
just raped, what was it, 2 Japanese girls or something? That was
Just
repressed.
constant rape.
But no, but the thing is right now, the big issue is the man who became prime minister
Yeah, the new guy.
is playing off of Hinduism, which is preponderantly the biggest religion, and bringing about like Hinduism is the best and challenging Buddhism and Jain religion and all
Great.
this.
Whoop-de-doo. God
I
almighty.
mean, everyone criticized the Gandhi families and they have their own corruptions, but this guy sounds like, I mean, one of our more conservatives times 10.
Are you going to pass out pink triangles too?
Yeah, really. I mean, it's supposed to be, you think the way, because you do think,
That made me think of Diana Vreeland's line, pink is the navy blue of India. So the big trial would be a fashion accessory of high order. Oh, God. God bless America.
Well, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, on this.
No, I mean, I was saying this country is the best country for Jews. It's the best country for gays. It's the best country for. I mean, really, we got a lot of flaws, and we're so far from perfect. It's a joke. But we keep trying, and we keep sort of clawing our way in the right direction when it comes to humanity.
Even though everything you said is absolutely true, but the one thing I think partly is because not that we've necessarily had wise leaders, and we have at times, and the founding fathers and all that, but because we continue really to prosper with ups and downs because of diversity. But the problem with so many, and you would say, what about India? But the problem with so many of these other countries, France, with all this that we talked about, and you've talked about this, Germany, England, they are sort of
homogenous. They have been, but they aren't anymore.
Well, they aren't anymore,
right.
but
they don't
all
know how to
that's
deal.
coming up again, like that, what's her name, Madame Le Pen, who's been making real waves with this recent Charlie.
Well,
business.
the right wing in Europe is having a heyday right now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't know. The world is a disaster area.
But
That's why I want some happy movies.
We can smell karma and pasta fazool on each side of us.
That's
and
right.
God bless America.
Yeah, really.
And a little bit of brisket, too.
Want some matzo balls.
Oh, I
Right,
just had the most wonderful brisket at that new restaurant. And the one that's owned by the Pamela's people.
Yeah.
Oh, they were such good
Was the
chicken
brisket
soup.
good? Oh, and the chicken
the
soup.
brisket was divine. And you can actually go and buy it. Commercial! You can buy it by all their meats because they have them brought in from Montreal, what they call them, cured meats or smoked meats, as opposed to what we call them here. And you can buy them by the packet, like by the pound.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah,
Okay. No.
And the kraplock.
They have a good knish?
I didn't have their knish.
Okay.
But I'm sure it was delish.
The knish was delicious.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Henry says this about the IRS. If they've laid off tens of thousands of IRS employees, does that mean I'm less likely to get caught if I cheat?
Well, yeah, we said, yeah.
Well, if you're a little guy, I don't know about that.
Well, I would say even not even cheating, but if you do anything that is not super orthodox, like trying to take off a boat or a trip to Las Vegas as a business trip, those things are probably red flagged.
Yeah.
But if you're being sort of, just a little sleazy, you'll probably get by with it.
And Kathy wanted to add to our display of D words, demonic.
Demonic, that's probably the ultimate word.
Yeah.
Or dirty.
Dumb!
No. Oh, that's right.
Dumb. Okay. Oh, God. All right. Oh, God, I can't. Did you see that, I think I threw it out. There was a report on the state of, I threw it out, dang it. There was a report on the state of minorities' earnings in Allegheny County and in Pittsburgh and in, it's just horrific. It's just unbelievably horrific.
Was it on par with the past years or worse or getting a little better? Or
it was like
1%?
No better.
No better, okay.
And it was well below. The discrepancy between the median income for African Americans in Allegheny County and white folks is huge. It's
and
like
did this compare
half.
across just to the state of Pennsylvania or the whole country?
No, they were just using census data.
But I mean across Pennsylvania.
No, they were doing. This was Pittsburgh, Allegheny. This is funded by the I think Heinz Endowments.
Okay.
And it's something that they work on over at Pitt, I believe.
Okay.
And it was blacks making, generally median income is half that of whites. And, what goes with that is just general opportunity and blah, blah. And as someone was pointing out the other day, even a black, let's say you're a black man, young black man, you push on ahead despite all the barriers, and you get a college degree. You do all the right stuff. You get a degree in something that you know is a burgeoning part of the economy, let's say healthcare services or something like that. And then you try to find a job. And you can't. Meanwhile, white guys with criminal records get hired before a black guy with a college degree. Yeah. But there's no racism in this country. No, we're post-racial. But the odd thing about it is we're below the national.
Oh, we are.
Way below. Yeah. This is not a good place to be a black person. Not. Way below. But when you look at median income based on race.
Now this is across the country again?
This was country and city and county. Guess what race has the highest median income?
Well, it's not going to be white because that's what everyone would guess.
That's correct.
Asian?
Yes. Yep.
Now, but curiously, was that Asian and it probably didn't...
Well, it could be Asian, it's Indian.
No, I didn't mean that. But what I was going to ask was
Chinese,
that like Indian American or maybe Indian even expat or Indian foreign?
No, it's not Indian. I didn't say Indian. I said Asian.
No, I know, but I'm saying, oh, no, if it was census, it would have to be citizen. Oh, no, wait, but if you're not a citizen, you could be part of the census.
Yeah.
I'm saying it would be curious to know, are these people like Indians or Chinese or Japanese, are they Japanese-American or are they Japanese nationals living in...
I would imagine most...
even more
well, I don't know. I would imagine most of them are Americans.
Okay.
Yeah. And... far outstrips everybody.
Sure. Which brings up many interesting questions.
Well, I would suggest to the Asians in this country that even though we're a great melting pot and everything, when you start, my thing just went out totally. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. When you start, when your head sticks up like that, nothing
Watch
good.
Out.
Nothing good comes of it. I mean. Ask the Jews. I mean, nothing good comes of it. When you're a minority and you enjoy success that puts you above the majority.
The mass, yeah. In Australia, they call that the tall poppy theory. When the one poppy grows high, it gets cut off. Yeah, right.
That's right. And that's often true in various workplaces too.
Yeah, sure. Don't be the star.
Don't be the star. Don't keep. You think you want that raise? Maybe you don't. Just keep it.
Or if you get it, keep it quiet. Well, in a funny kind of way on this. It's not directly related, but there was a piece, both I think first locally and then it was nationally in the Times on Sunday, about these numbers, which were not small, of college students who are homeless. Did you read that? And it was some percentage, like 4 or 5%. It wasn't just two people.
Wait, college students?
College students who were going to college but were living in their cars.
Oh my God.
Or living, or a lot of them were getting by because, I guess, from my period in college, they started making the major libraries open 24 hours. So they would fall asleep, and even though they don't want you to fall asleep and stay there, they didn't want homeless, they'll come and wake you up, and then you fall back to sleep again. So they were sleeping in the dorm. That was their home.
Well,
in the study areas of the libraries.
So we were singing America's praises a while ago in relation to Europe and other countries. Yeah. Here's where we are...
Education.
We're outrageous when it comes, as a country, when it comes to not stepping up to our responsibilities to allow, to in fact give equal opportunity to education and to health care to all of our citizens.
I remember...
what are we?
Well, I remember someone who, this was about 5, 6, 7 years ago, and this was a British or German, or maybe there were two of them, I can't remember now, but they were talking about these kind of demographics and trying to create an algorithm, and they said that, while we are indeed involved with race issues and issues of of poverty and access to medical care, etc., the next big problem in America was going to be the cost of higher education, because in almost all the other European countries, westernized countries, a majority either have totally free higher education.
That's right.
And here we're getting to the point, when you were in college, when I was in college, even probably to a certain degree.
No, she
for
got
her.
screwed.
But the amount
it was
of
affordable.
loans, it was affordable. But now people can't afford, or even if they go through, they have $100,000 in debt.
Which informs what they then look for in jobs, meaning they might not go to something they have a passion for or that they're really what they want to do, but instead they go for money, which it's because they have to have some money. It means that they're not going to be able. That's why they put off starting families, because they can't afford a family. I mean, they haven't paid for their college education. How are they going to have children where they have a child?
I remember when I was in graduate
madness.
school. No, I was in my working years, maybe 10 years after college. There was a program because so many people in the humanities in particular were out of work. So I think it was the Getty with the National Endowment for the Arts had this program where if you had done well, you had your PhD, you had accolades, you were a junior professor, had written books, etc., but were not making any money, you were just so frustrated, they would take you and for 9 months they would give you a kind of baby MBA. And then they would place you. They would have people, because they were saying, hey, look at Lynn Cullen. She has a success in academia. She could be a good financial assistant, blah, blah, blah. And then, some people did it, and they've done well, etc. Recently, they did the same thing for lawyers, because there were so many people who rushed. I remember just after I finished college, a lot of my friends were going to law school. Then there was this glut of lawyers, and they were then teaching lawyers how to retool. And
that's right.
And you before, get a lawyer, you'll make, 6 figures. And
think of having all of that debt from undergraduate and then law school, because you're assuming you're going to get a good
and then how do you buy? Let's say you're a
job.
doctor and you have to have, or a dentist, you have to have those chairs and all that. How do you buy a practice? Or you do, and then you're like $200 million in debt for the rest of your life.
Well, doctors are just demoralized in this country. They're demoralized, and I don't. There's another D word. It's not. It's
well,
rough.
but you think not. I mean, I love and have friends who are doctors, but do you think it's demoralized because before? I'm not saying doctors didn't have moral or noble reasons.
Well, they used to be able
doctor.
to have a private practice. They used to be able to spend time with patients.
Well,
they used to
have
be
a
able
very
to apply their
remunerative.
Now they're.
Now they're like a business person, and they don't have the same luxuries as they did before.
Yeah, but the health care's not as good. You talk to any doctor, and these electronic health records have totally screwed up the way doctors.
I agree with it.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And a boondoggle on top of it. I mean, you talk about the military-industrial complex. There's something akin to that in the healthcare world, where just huge contracts mandated by government legislation at the federal level it creates these just gazillionaires who, because everything has to change, the software, the training, the kind of stuff. All these hospitals, doctors spend more time now staring. You're sitting in a doctor's office. He comes in with a stand.
Like
right?
the nurses used to.
Yeah, well, now he does.
Hospitals. Yeah.
And he's literally has a bunch of questions that he has to ask.
Right.
He has
he has to code them. Like you say, I have a cough, and he has to put in cough from just, let's say, postnasal drip or pneumonia. And if he puts down postnasal drip, the insurance may not pay for it because it wasn't pneumonia.
So I got to tell you, and the opportunities for things
mistakes.
being entered incorrectly and this and that.
Because I know my doctor, who I love, but she has her back to when she's typing.
That's
and then
right.
she'll turn.
They're typing.
But they're not looking at you.
No.
They're not maybe catching something that might not immediately be
that's what
discernible.
Yeah.
But say, you're Lynn, your color
exactly
looks
right.
a little.
My doc said to me he was saying, it's just.
And they have a time clock, too.
Yeah.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
For $250, 7 minutes.
And they're not looking at you.
And they're not. There's no more. He's looking at
And
your
it's
kid.
not. I don't know. All right. Well, did you see the 60 Minutes thing where?
I want to do it on demand. What's your name? Grills.
I think is Brill in there too?
Yeah, but I mean, but I think the main purpose of I've been told.
I'm just saying that Romoff was.
Yeah, well, no, that's the main thing. It was based on Brill's comment, but it is an interview with Romoff, and supposedly the first question, Leslie Stahl, who usually is very straightforward and not, she said, "Mr. Romoff, what is your salary for the last year?" And he gets a little and says, 6 or 8, and she says, dollars. There's no million. And then she starts, but then he catches himself and is just as much of a arrogant bloviator as we all know he is.
Well, you know who's making that same amount of money?
Who?
The new head football coach at the University of Michigan.
Oh, that's outrageous.
And yet, I'm sure their tuition's going to go up. So they can pay this.
Well, no. The only reason I would say no to that one is because it's been proven, even though everyone knows I'm not a great sports fan, but that that alumni, because they love sports so much, they will ante up. The president or whomever, head of sports, will call up and say, well, can you each give us $500,000 to pay?
But where does that money go? Because it sure isn't going to lowering the cost of education so that the students have a shot at a life.
Well, that's not what they're being asked for. They're being asked to subsidize to get a great coach so we can win more pennants and you can feel like real men.
I think we're done.
Are we? Yeah. Oh, my God, yes. Well, to all the real men.
What was that?
Well, I said this business of, give to your alma mater, but really
don't give to your alma mater. You gave enough to your damn alma mater.
Well, that's true, too.
Many of you are still giving to your alma mater.
Well, as someone who raised nonprofit dollars for many, many, many years, and presumably will again, even though we don't like it, give it with restrictions. This is only for scholarships. This is only for underprivileged students. Not for new bathrooms for the dean of nursing.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's it.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.